Do you know that some people carry spirits of lack and struggle, and their presence in your life can block your blessings? When we entangle ourselves with the wrong people, their struggles can become ours. Let's take a look at the story of Fechi, a young lady who had so much ease in life just because she carried favor and grace. Fechi's life had always been a delicate matter of trust and survival. She was beautiful, ambitious, and fiercely independent. But behind her self-assured demeanor lay a deep scar, one carved by her father who abandoned his family when she and her younger brother Obiora were barely old enough to understand the weight of his absence. Fechi's mother had fought tooth and nail to provide for her children, yet the pain of the betrayal left an indelible mark on Fechi. She grew up harboring trust issues, especially toward men. For Fechi, relationships were a revolving door. She never stayed long enough to let anyone in. Any sign of trouble, any slight misstep, and she was gone. Yet, despite her emotional baggage, life seemed to favor her in extraordinary ways. In fact, she seemed to enjoy a kind of supernatural favor that made things come to her easily. People favored her a lot. Job opportunities came to her seamlessly, and she hardly struggled for anything. Even random acts of kindness came her way effortlessly. People marveled at her fortune, calling it divine favor. From her teenage years, people had remarked on her extraordinary luck. Opportunities that others struggled tirelessly to achieve seemed to land effortlessly in her lap. When she applied for her first job at a prestigious PR firm in Lagos, she got it without much effort, while others went through multiple rounds of grueling interviews. "There's something special about you," the manager had said, handing her the offer letter after a single meeting. But it wasn't just jobs. Everywhere Fechi went, doors opened for her in ways that felt almost supernatural. A stranger would pay for her groceries at the market. A boss would promote her ahead of time, or an old acquaintance would connect her to lucrative business deals. Even when she made mistakes, things seemed to work out in her favor. Her friends often joked that Fechi had a guardian angel walking over time. "Babe, it's like you were born with a golden spoon," her best friend Namaka once teased. "Everything just falls into place for you." But Fechi herself didn't see it that way. She attributed her success to hard work and determination. What others called favor, she attributed to resilience and the ability to seize opportunities. One evening, after another breakup, Fechi visited her mother in Surulere. She slumped on the couch, staring blankly at the ceiling. Nneka, busy peeling yams in the kitchen, watched her daughter with concern. "Fechi, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost," Nneka said, wiping her hands on a towel as she came to sit down beside her daughter. Fechi sighed heavily. "It's Adewale, Mama. We're done." Nneka raised an eyebrow. "Again? What happened this time?" "He lied to me, Mama. He was still involved with another woman," Fechi said, her voice shaking with anger. "Can you imagine? After everything, he turned out to be just like the rest." Nneka placed a hand on Fechi's shoulder. "My daughter, not every man is like your father. But you don't give anyone a real chance. You're always looking for an escape the moment things get tough." Fechi turned to her mother, frowning. "Mama, you know what he did to us. How can I trust anyone after what we went through? Men are not worth it. They'll always disappoint you." Nneka sighed deeply, her face clouded with sadness. "Fechi, do you think I don't understand? Your father hurt me in ways I can't even put in words. But I've also seen good men. Your uncle Emeka, for example, he stood by his wife when she was sick, didn't he? That's rare, Mama, Fechi said. For every Uncle Emeka, there are 100 men like Papa. Nneka shook her head. It's not just about the men, my daughter. It's about you. You carry so much anger and pain that you don't even see when someone genuinely cares for you. Adewale may have lied, but what about the others before him? Were they all so bad? Fechi looked away, unable to answer. Nneka leaned closer, her voice soft but firm. Life is not perfect, Fechi. People will disappoint you sometimes, but love is about patience, understanding and forgiveness. You have to stop seeing every man as your father. That's not fair to them, and that's not fair to you either. Fechi blinked back tears. It's not that easy, Mama. How do I stop feeling like this? Nneka took her hand. It starts with letting go of the past. You're punishing yourself for what your father did. But you're not that little girl anymore. You are strong and you deserve happiness. But you have to be willing to let someone in, even if it's scary. That night, Nneka's words lingered in Fechi's mind. For the first time, she questioned whether her mother was right. Was she letting her father's actions dictate her life? Was she so afraid of being hurt that she pushed people away before they could even try? Fechi's inability to fully trust or forgive made it difficult for her to sustain any relationship. She often saw small issues as major betrayals, and while her fears played a role, her partners often contributed to the downfall. Kunle's controlling nature, Toby's flirtatious behavior, Chike's emotional unavailability, and Adewale's dishonesty reinforced her belief that men couldn't be trusted. Fechi met Nnanna at a grocery store. He was a banker, tall, dark and witty. They hit it off instantly. I'm Nnanna, he said, extending his hand. Fechi, she replied, shaking it briefly. What started as a light-hearted exchange over fruits turned into a conversation that lasted far longer than either of them expected. He was charming and articulate, and he had a knack for making her laugh with his witty comments about Lagos traffic and his adventures as a banker. By the time they left the store, he had persuaded her to give him her number. He didn't waste any time in reaching out. The very next day, he called to check on her. Their conversations were easy, and within a week, he invited her out to dinner at a cozy restaurant in Ikoyi. Nnanna's attentiveness and charm made a strong impression on Fechi. He was intelligent, had a stable job, and seemed genuinely interested in her life. Unlike other men she had dated, he didn't overwhelm her with grand gestures or push for intimacy too quickly. This cautious approach intrigued her, and she found herself opening up to him more than she had with others. 3 weeks into their relationship, after several dinners, late-night calls and weekend outings, Nnanna suggested they take things to the next level. They had spent a quiet evening at his apartment watching movies when he leaned in and said, Fechi, I care about you. I feel like we've built something together. I want us to be closer, to share more. Fechi hesitated. Her past relationships had left her cautious about intimacy, but something about Nnanna felt different. His calm demeanor and patient approach made her feel safe. That night, they became intimate for the first time. At first, the relationship seemed perfect. Nnanna was thoughtful and attentive, and he didn't pressure Fechi for anything. However, as time went on, subtle signs began to emerge. Whenever they went out, Nnanna would conveniently forget his wallet or suggest they split the bill. If Fechi brought up her financial successes or mentioned helping her family, he would respond with vague comments about his own financial burdens. One evening during a casual conversation, Fechi jokingly said, Nnanna, you're the only man I've dated who's never offered to buy me something as small as a bouquet of flowers. Nana laughed nervously. You're a strong, independent woman, Fechi. You don't need all that. But Fechi brushed it off, not wanting to appear materialistic. She had always prided herself on her independence and never expected a man to take care of her financially. Another time, while discussing plans for a weekend getaway, Fechi casually suggested they split the cost. Nana immediately barked, Ah, Fechi, you know I'm not earning as much as you. Can't you handle it? It's not like it's a big deal for you. Her heart sank. It wasn't the money. It was the assumption that she would always shoulder the burden without reciprocity. Fechi's friends had mixed feelings about her relationship with Nnanna. From the beginning, some of them noticed subtle signs that he was stingy and not as generous or supportive as a serious partner should be. However, they hesitated to say much at first, knowing how fiercely independent Fechi was and how she disliked interference in her personal life. But as time went on, they couldn't help but voice their concerns. One evening, Fechi and her two closest friends, Amaka and Chika, were having drinks at a rooftop bar in Lekki. Fechi had just finished telling them about her plans with Nnanna to visit a resort, and her excitement was evident. Wait, so you're footing the entire bills for the weekend getaway? Amaka asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes, Fechi replied, casually sipping her cocktail. Nnanna said he's been under a lot of financial pressure lately, so I thought it would be nice to treat him. Amaka exchanged a look with Chika. Fechi, don't you think it's odd that he's always under financial pressure? Chika asked carefully. You've been dating for what, 3 months now? Has he ever offered to pay for anything? He's not like that, Fechi said, brushing it off. I told you I don't need a man's money. I'm perfectly capable of handling myself. We know, babe, Amaka said, leaning forward. But it's not about needing his money. It's about him being willing to step up. Relationships are about balance. If he can't afford something, fine. But he should at least try to make an effort. A man who cares will find ways to show it, even if it is small. Chika nodded. Exactly. Like that time we were out and he forgot his wallet. That wasn't just stingy, it was embarrassing. He knew you'd cover for him and he didn't even apologize properly. Fechi sighed, feeling defensive. He's not perfect, okay? Besides, not everyone's finances are stable right now. I can't judge him for that. Amaka shook her head. We are not judging, Fechi. We just want you to be happy. You deserve someone who will pour into you as much as you pour into them. Fechi did defend her boyfriend. However, she began to notice a pattern. Nnanna was not just frugal, he was stingy. He avoided spending money on anything that didn't benefit him directly, and this extended to his interactions with her. Suddenly, all the little things she had ignored came rushing in. She decided to test him. On their next date, she told him she had forgotten her purse at home and asked if he could pay for dinner. Nnanna's face fell. Eh? But why didn't you check before coming out? You know things are tight for me right now. That was the moment Fechi realized she had been overlooking his stinginess because she had never needed to depend on him. His lack of generosity wasn't just financial. It reflected a lack of willingness to invest in their relationship. Later that evening, as they sat in his car, Fechi confronted him. Nnanna, I've noticed something about you, and it is bothering me. You never go out of your way for me. Is this how you see relationships? As one-sided? Nana frowned. What are you saying? You're the one who's always talking about independence. I thought you didn't need a man to do things for you. It's not about needing, Fechi said, her voice firm. It's about effort, about showing that you care. Relationships are about give and take, Nana. But with you, it feels like all I do is give. Nana grew defensive. So because I don't shower you with gifts, I'm a bad partner. That's not fair, Fechi. It's not about the gifts, Nana, she replied. It's about the thoughtfulness. If you can't see that, then maybe we're not right for each other. That night, Fechi ended things with Nana. While she valued her independence, she realized she also deserved a partner who could contribute emotionally and financially. Someone who understood that relationships require mutual effort and care. Nana had shown her that independence was important, but so was reciprocity. Her friends, though initially hesitant to interfere, were relieved when Fechi confided in them about her decision to end things with Nnanna. You deserve someone who adds to your life, not someone who just takes, Amaka told her. And for the first time, Fechi wholeheartedly agreed. Before her relationship with Nnanna ended, she noticed that something strange began to happen to her. At first, she dismissed the setbacks as minor inconveniences. When one of her long-term clients unexpectedly cancelled a lucrative contract, she brushed it off as one-time incident. But then it happened again, and again, and again. Within months, the life she had always taken for granted, filled with supernatural favor and effortless success, began to slip through her fingers. Deals she had confidently relied on fell apart without explanations. Payments from clients were delayed and new opportunities seemed to dry up. Worse still, her once healthy savings account started depleting faster than she could replenish it. It wasn't just the financial struggles. Fechi felt a heaviness she couldn't explain, as though an unforeseen force was working against her. The turning point came when she missed a deadline for a critical project because of a series of inexplicable delays. The client, who was once loyal and understanding, refused to give her another chance. That night, sitting alone in her apartment, surrounded by unanswered emails, Fechi broke down. For the first time, she admitted to herself that something was seriously wrong. This wasn't just bad luck. It felt like a curse. The next day, she visited her mother, Nneka, in Surulere. Mama, I don't know what's happening to me, Fechi said, pacing the small living room. Everything is falling apart. It's like the favor I've always had is gone. No matter what I do, nothing seems to work anymore. Nneka frowned. Calm down, my daughter. Sit and talk to me properly. What do you mean by favor is gone? Fechi sat down. Clients are leaving. Projects are failing, and my savings are almost gone. I've never struggled like this before, Mama. It's as if something is blocking me. Nneka studied her daughter for a moment. This is not ordinary, she said. You've always had grace. Things come to you effortlessly. For this to suddenly change, something must have happened. Have you offended anyone? Fechi shook her head. I don't know, Mama. I haven't done anything different. But everything started going wrong a few months after I started seeing Nnanna. Nneka's eyes narrowed. Nnanna. Tell me more. Who is he? What kind of a person is he? Fechi hesitated, realizing for the first time how little she had shared about her relationship with her mother. He's okay, I guess. He works as a banker, but Mama, he's very stingy. He never offers to help with anything. And now that I think about it, he's always complaining about money. Nneka's expression darkened. Fechi, you need to be careful. Stinginess is one thing, but sometimes it goes deeper. Some people carry spirits of lack and struggle. Their presence in your life can block your blessings. You need spiritual counsel. Go and see Pastor Chinedu. He has helped many people. Reluctantly, Fechi agreed. That weekend, she visited Pastor Chinedu at his church in Ikeja. After listening to her story, the pastor said, "My daughter, what you are describing is not natural. Sometimes when we entangle ourselves with the wrong people, their struggles can become ours. Nnanna's stinginess may not just be a habit. It could be a manifestation of something spiritual. You need to separate yourself from him." Nnanna had come to apologize to Fechi, saying he didn't want to lose her and promised to change. Fechi had reconciled with him against the advice of her friends and the pastor, truly believing that Nnanna would change. But he did not. He had not. With Pastor Chinedu's guidance, Fechi began a series of prayer sessions and fastings. She also took a hard look at her relationship with Nnanna and realized it was draining her emotionally, spiritually, and financially. One evening, after much prayer and reflection, she went to see Nnanna. "Nnanna, I don't think we're good for each other. Since we started dating, my life has been in chaos." Nnanna was taken back. "You're blaming me for your problems?" he said defensively. "I'm not blaming you," Fechi replied calmly. "But I can't ignore the fact that everything started going wrong after you came into my life. I need space to figure things out." Nnanna scoffed, his expression a mix of disbelief and irritation. "Are you serious? You're saying your problems are because of me? That's ridiculous, Fechi. Maybe you're just going through a rough patch. It has nothing to do with me." "It's not just a rough patch," Fechi replied. "It's a pattern I can't ignore. It's a pattern I can't ignore. I've prayed about this, and I need to take a step back. I wish you well, but I cannot continue like this." When Fechi didn't waver, his frustration grew. "You know what? Fine, go ahead, but don't come running back when you realize you've made a mistake." In the weeks that followed, Nnanna tried to win her back in his own way. Though his efforts were half-hearted and self-serving, he sent her text messages claiming he missed her and reminding her of their good times. But even in his attempts to reconcile, he avoided taking responsibility or addressing the issues Fechi had raised. When he realized Fechi wasn't coming back, his tone shifted to bitterness. Mutual friends reported that he was telling people she was too dramatic and impossible to please. He painted himself as the victim, claiming Fechi was overreacting and using him as a scapegoat for her problems. Though Nnanna's reaction initially hurt, Fechi found peace in her decision. His inability to acknowledge her concerns validated her choice to leave. She realized that staying with him would have only drained her further and that she felt stronger for prioritizing her well-being. After breaking up with Nnanna and focusing on her spiritual personal growth, Fechi's life gradually began to improve. It wasn't an immediate turnaround, of course, but over time, the favour and ease she once knew began to return. She remained committed to her spiritual journey. She continued attending prayers with Pastor Chinedu, fasting and engaging in deep introspection. During one of the sections, the pastor advised her to let go of any lingering bitterness or resentment towards Nnanna or anyone else who had hurt her. "You must forgive completely, my daughter," he told her. "Unforgiveness is a chain that holds you back. Release it, and you will see the doors open for you again." Though it was difficult, Fechi forgave Nnanna and her father. She even prayed for Nnanna to find his own path. With a clearer mind and renewed faith, She refocused her energy on her business and life goals. Slowly but surely, opportunities began to return. Clients returned. Former clients who had gone silent started reaching out again. Some admitted they had regretted working with others. Fechi began receiving referrals from unexpected places. People she hadn't spoken to in years recommended her for projects, and new doors opened seemingly. Within 6 months, her finances stabilized. She cleared her debts and rebuilt her savings, this time with a deeper appreciation for financial discipline and gratitude. Her life wasn't just restored to what it had been before, it became better. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave us a comment in the comment section. Let's know what you took away from this story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next one.